Hello everyone, in this video I will explain in details about double dimensional arrays in Java, also known as 2D arrays or multidimensional arrays. So what is double dimensional array? We can say it is a type of array in which data items are stored by using rows and columns. So as you know, we have one more type of array which is known as 1D array or single dimensional array. In 1D array we have only one row. So all the elements are stored in the single row only. Whereas in double dimensional array, in 2D array, we have more than one row. This type of arrangement is also known as matrix format. It can also be said that 2D array is just a collection of 1D arrays where each 1D array is a row in the 2D array. For an example, suppose we have three one-dimensional arrays, array A, array B and array C. Array A contains these 5 values, similarly array B contains these values and array C contains these values. Now if I combine all three of these arrays and create such kind of a structure, then this is double dimensional array. As you can see in this structure, the first row is the array A, the second row is the array B and the third row is the array C. So we can say it is array A of size 3, 5, 3 rows and 5 columns. So the order of this 2D array or the order of this matrix is 3 by 5. Order means the number of rows and columns. Always the number of rows is written first and then the number of columns. So by saying 3 by 5, I mean 3 row and 5 column. Now how to declare 2D arrays? In order to declare 2D arrays, we need to write the data type, array name, 2 brackets, where the first bracket represents row, second bracket represent column. Then new data type, number of rows and number of columns. For an example, if I want to create an integer array, 2D array of size 2 by 6, okay, means 2 rows and 6 columns. This kind of a structure will be created. For that I need to write int a brackets 2 times equal to new int 2 6. 2 is the number of rows, 6 is the number of columns. So you can see the horizontal bars are the rows. This is the first row, this is the second row. And the vertical bars are the columns. So first column, second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column and sixth column. So we can say this is array A of size 2 by 6 or order 2 by 6. Let's see how we can initialize array, initialization of 2D arrays. I have taken 3 examples, one for the integer array, another one for the character array and last one is for the string array. In the first example, you can see I have written int a brackets is equal to curly braces, then again one set of curly braces containing the first row elements, then comma, then next set of curly braces for the second row. So every row is represented inside a set of curly braces, comma separated. This is for the first row, this is for the second row. If we talk about character array, the method is same, only that the values are enclosed in single quotes. In the string also it is same, only the values are enclosed in double quotes. Now let us talk about indexing in 2D arrays. Now what is indexing? Indexing is basically a method by which we access any particular element of the array. Okay, index is also known as subscript. In 1D array, we have only one index because it has only one row. In case of 2D array, we require one more index. So there will be total 2 index. One is for the row, another one is for the column. In my example, I have an array of size 3 by 4. That means there are 3 rows and there are 4 columns. Always remember that the index always begins with 0. So for the row also, the index will be 0, 1, 2, and for the column it is 0, 1, 2, 3, because there are 4 columns and there are 3 rows. In order to access any particular element of 2D array, we have to refer to the row index as well as the column index. Now how to access the elements of 2D array? For accessing the elements of 2D array, we need nested loops. Okay, I have taken an example of 3 by 2 array, 3 row and 2 column. The outer loop represents the number of rows. So in the condition part you have to write 3 because there are 3 rows. Similarly in the inner loop I have written 2 because the inner loop represents the number of columns. Okay, now how it is executing I am showing you now. See this dry run part. The outer loop will execute one time, the inner loop will execute n time. Okay, so outer loop has the condition less than 3 and it is beginning with 0. So it will go like 0, 1, 2. But when it is 0, then the inner loop will execute 2 times because the condition is 2. So it will execute 0 and 1. Okay, means the outer loop will execute 1 time, inner loop will execute 2 times. By that, I can see that this is the method how it will be accessed. A of 0 0, then A of 0 1, then 1 0, then 1 1, then 2 0, then 2 1. If I see the diagram, I can easily understand it is accessing the first row, then the second row, then the third row. So 0 0 0 1, 1 0 1 1, 2 0 2 1, like that. Now how to know the total number of elements, comma, rows and columns in any 2D array? One way is we can use the direct formula, that is number of rows multiplied by number of columns. For an example, if I have any 2D array of size 3 by 2, then the number of elements are 6. 3 into 2, 6. But in the programming, in order to do that, we have to use a property which is known as length property. The length property can be used with any array. Okay, let it be 1D array or 2D array or character array or integer array or double array or anything. Okay, it can be used with any kind of array. So using the length property we can get the total number of elements. Now suppose I am taking example of this array A. If I write A dot length, so it will give me the total number of elements in the array, which is the product of number of rows and number of columns. I will get 6. But then how to know the number of columns? In order to know the number of columns, I need to write A0 dot length. As I told you previously that in fact 2D array is nothing but a collection of 1D array, correct? So every row is a 1D array. I can say if I write A0, I am referring to the first row. If I write A of 1, I am referring to the second row. If I write A of 2, I am referring to the third row. So if I am referring to the first row, dot length means the number of elements in the first row. Now if you see the first row, how many elements are there in the first row? 2. In fact, that is the number of columns also. Yes? So to get the number of columns, we can write A0 dot length, which will give me the number of elements in the first row. That is also the number of columns, 1, 2. But last thing is how to know the number of rows. For that you can use a simple method. Find out the total number of elements divided by the number of columns. Simple. Now what is the total number of elements? In this example 6. And what is A of 0 dot length? 2. So simple, 6 divided by 2, it will be 3. Total number of rows. Now let's start with the programming questions. I have 10 programming questions for you. Let's begin. First question. Write a program to accept m into n values in any 2D array, then print the elements in matrix format. Okay, here m into n, m is the number of rows and n is the number of columns. When we are representing any 2D array, the first term we are using is the number of rows and the second term is the number of columns. Okay, so if I input m as 3 and n as 2, that means total number of elements will be 6. The message that will be displayed is enter 6 values. So if I am inputting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the output should come as follows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The way it is getting printed, that is known as the matrix format. Matrix format means the format where the values are printed in rows and columns. Let's see the program. Here I have taken input mn, okay. Then this is the declaration of array. I have created the array of size mn. Then I am giving a message, enter m into n values, okay. Like if m is 3 and n is 2, then it will print enter 6 values. If m is 4 and n is 5, then it will print enter 20 values, okay. Then I am taking input. Now as I told you that in 2D arrays we need to use nested loop. So for the row we have the I loop and for the column we have the j loop, and it is taking input in a of ij, okay. So first time I will be 0, j will be running from 0 to n minus 1, correct. Then I will become 1, j will again be running from 0 to n minus 1. Then we are printing the matrix this way. Printing of matrix is just like printing of pattern. If you know pattern printing, then matrix printing is also same. You just print the current value in the row and after the loop you change the line. That is how we are printing matrix. Okay, let's see the output. Enter mn. Suppose m is 3 and n is 2. So I have to input 6 values. So if the values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then here the values are in matrix format. Since I entered 3 row, so there will be 3 row. First row, second row, third row. Okay. Second question. Write a program to accept m into n values in any matrix, then print the transpose of the matrix. Now what is transpose? Transpose means first row will become the first column, second row will become the second column, okay, and if there is third row, that will become the third column, and so on. If I input mn as 2, 3, that means there will be 6 values. My first row is 1, 2, 3, that will become 1, 2, 3 as a first column in the output, and 4, 5, 6, that is the second row, will become the second column in the output. Let's see the program. This is the second question where I am taking input mn. I am creating an array of size m into n, 2D array. Then I am taking input. This part is common, same. For transpose, the logic is very simple. Basically, you are making the first row as the first column and second row as the second column. As I told you that the first loop represents the row and second loop represents the column. Now, my row size is m, my column size is n. In order to print the transpose, I just need to change m to n and n to m. So in the outer loop, I will write n instead of m, and in the inner loop, I will write m instead of n. Okay, that is the first thing. And second thing is, normally in the matrix program, we are writing a of ij. I is the outer loop variable, j is the inner loop variable. In matrix transpose, it will be ji instead of ij. So first thing is change the mn with nm and change the ij with ji. That is the transpose of matrix. Let's see the output. Enter mn. If I input 3, 4, 12 values, it will be 3 rows and 4 columns. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then 9, 1, 2, 3. So here is the output. As you can see, the first row 1, 2, 3, 4 is now the first column, 5, 6, 7, 8 second row is the second column, and 9, 1, 2, 3 third row is the third column. That is the transpose of the given matrix. Question number 3. Write a program to accept m into m values in any square matrix, then print the diagonal elements of the matrix. First thing is, what is a square matrix? A matrix in which the number of rows is equal to the number of columns is known as a square matrix. For example, 1 into 1 order, 2 into 2, 3 into 3, 4 into 4, 5 into 5 till m into m. Okay. So if I have any square matrix of 4 into 4, take this example, you only need to print the elements which are at left diagonal and right diagonal. This green one is the left diagonal, this red one is the right diagonal. Okay. So I need to print 1672 as the left diagonal elements and 4, 7, 8, 5 as the right diagonal elements. In order to do that, for the left diagonal, first we have to see the index values. Okay, first value is at index 0, 0, second value is at index 1, 1, third value is at index 2, 2, and fourth value is at index 3, 3. So what is common? In the left diagonal position, the value of I is equal to the value of j, isn't it? 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, 3 I have written here. Now coming to the right diagonal, the values to be printed are 4, 7, 8, 5. Now what about 4? The position is 0, 3. What about 7? The position is 1, 2. What about 8? The position is 2, 1. And 5, the position is 3, 0. So you can see row index is first time 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. And column index is first 3, then 2, then 1, then 0. That means the row index is increasing and the column index is decreasing. That is the logic of the right diagonal. Okay, let's see the program. So here is the program. I have written enter m because number of rows and columns will be same, so only m. After creating the matrix, after taking input, then for the left diagonal I only require a single loop. I will print a of I. So when I is 0, it will access a of 0, 0. When I is 1, it will access a of 1, 1. When I is 2, it will access a of 2, 2, and so on. It will go till m. Okay, it is for the left diagonal. In case of the right diagonal, I have told you that I value is increasing, j value is decreasing. So it is like 0, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 0, like that. So I have set a variable j to the maximum, to the upper index of the column, and I have set to 0 to the lower index of the row. I is increasing, j is decreasing. First time I is 0, j is 3. If I assume it is 4 by 4 matrix, then j is first time 3 and I is first time 0. So it will access 0, 3, then I will become 1, j will become 2, it will access 1, 2, like that. Then I will become 2, j will become 1. So it will access 2, 1, like that, then 3, 0. Let's see the output. Enter m. If I input 4, then 16 values, 1, 2, 3, 4 first row, then 6, 5, 4, 3 second row, then 9, 8, 7, 4 third row, then 6, 3, 2, 5 fourth row. So the left diagonal elements are 1, 5, 7, 5, you can see, and the right diagonal elements are 4, 4, 8, 6. Question number 4. Write a program to accept m into n values in any matrix, then print the non-boundary elements from the matrix. Okay, so if m is 4 and n is 4, that means 16 values. Suppose these are my values. Non-boundary element means the elements which are not in any corner. Either it is first row or last row or first column or last column. So the middle values you need to print. Okay, the condition is very simple. The row index should not be 0. This is 0 row, should not be 0. The row index should not be m minus 1. M minus 1 is the last row, so it should not be the last row. For the column also, the column index should not be 0. So we cannot take the first column, and the column index cannot be n minus 1. Okay, so we have to avoid this row, this column, and this column. Let's see the program. Okay, so this is the program. The first part is same. Then for the non-boundary element, the logic is very simple. Normally we run the loop from 0, we will run the loop from 1 in this case. So when you run the loop, both the loop for the row and for the column, when you run it from 1, then you are not accessing the 0 position. So automatically the first row and the first column is eliminated. Okay, it is not involved. And the loop is also running till m minus 1. Okay, that is another thing. When it is running till m minus 1, that means the last row and the last column is not getting accessed. Okay, that is the logic. Let's see the output. If m is 3 and n is 5, 15 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first row, then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 second row, then 2, 4, 6, 8, 6 third row. So non-boundary elements are 8, 7, 6. As you can see, these are the middle values. Only the middle values to be printed. That is the non-boundary element. Question number 5. Write a program to accept m into n values in any matrix, then print the matrix along with the row addition. Okay. The question is very simple. You take input values m into n values and add all the numbers in any particular row. Print the total after that row. For example, if this is my input matrix, then the first row total, which is 10, is printed beside of that row. The second row total is printed beside of the second row, and so on. Let's see the program. So here is the program. After taking input and creating the array, then we are printing a message matrix along with row addition. Now for the row addition we need a variable. That variable in my case is r. So it is int r equal to 0. The concept is simple. Because we have to add row wise, means we have to add the first row completely. So in the inner loop we are printing, and along with that we are adding also. So every element that we are printing, as you know, in the inner loop the value of row remains same. So like if I is the row, then row remains 0 first time and column is moving 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. So it is accessing the first row, it is printing the first row. Along with that it is adding it also to the variable r, and variable r is printed after the inner loop is over, means after every row is complete, then the total is printed. Then for the next time again the total is reset to 0. That is how you add row. Let's see the output. M is 3, n is 2. Values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here is the matrix along with the row addition. The first row was containing 1, 2, the total is 3, printed beside of the row values. Then the next row is 3, 4, 7 is printed beside of that. Next is 5, 6, 11 is printed beside of that. Question number 6. Write a program to accept m into n values in any matrix, then print the maximum value present in each row. So this is the matrix. In each row you have to find the maximum value. For example, in the first row the maximum value is 5, second row the maximum value is 9, third the maximum value is 7, fourth the maximum value is -2, and only the maximum value is to be printed. Let's see the program. So here is the program. After taking input, we have to use a variable max. Okay. Now I have written max equal to a of I0. I0 means the first element of the row. Okay. Because I is changing and in the position of j I have written 0. That means it is the first value of the row. So I am assuming the first value of the row as the maximum. Then I am running the loop from 1 to less than n. Normally we run from 0, but this time we are running from 1. So we are taking out every other number in that row and we are comparing if any number is greater than the max. If my variable max is less than any number, then that number is the new maximum. And after this loop is over, then we get the maximum in that particular row which is printed before we proceed to the next row. Let's see the output. M is 3, n is 4, 12 values, 8, 5, 4, 2, that is for the first row. Second row 9, 0, 3, 7 and 0, 8, 2, 4. So maximum in the first row, as you can see, is 8, in the second row is 9, in the third row it is 8. Question number 7. Write a program to accept m into n values in first matrix and p into q values in second matrix, then find the matrix addition. Now, in order to add two matrices, we have some rule. Okay, the rule is the number of rows of first matrix should be equal to the number of rows of second matrix. Similarly, the number of columns of first matrix should be equal to the number of columns of second matrix. So in simple, we can say that two matrices can only be added if the order of matrix is identical, means the order is same for both the matrix. Let's see the program. Here is the program. We are taking input values of mn for the first matrix, that is the order of first matrix. Similarly, we are taking input pq, that is the order of matrix for the second one. Then we are checking if m is not equal to p and n is not equal to q, means if the number of rows of first matrix is not equal to the number of rows of second matrix. Similarly, if the number of columns of first matrix is not equal to the number of columns of second matrix, if any one condition is true, means it is not identical, then immediately print addition not possible and break. In the else part, we are creating three matrices, okay, A, B and C. Then we are taking input in the first matrix, taking input in the second matrix. Addition is simple. Just write C of ij is equal to A of ij plus B of ij. Like you do normal addition, C equal to A plus B, like that. Okay. After addition, then print the third matrix C. Let's see the output. Enter Mn, I take 2, 3. Enter PQ, I take 2, 3. 6 values in the first matrix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 values in the second matrix. 9, 8, 2, 3, 6, 5. After addition, 10, 10, 5, 7, 11, 11. You can check first row, first column value. See 1. Second one also 9. 1 plus 9, 10. Like that. 2 plus 8, 10. 3 plus 2, 5. 4 plus 3, 7. 5 plus 6, 11. 6 plus 5, 11. Question number 8. Write a program to accept m into n values in any matrix, then convert and store the values in any 1D array. So we will be converting a 2D array to 1D array. Okay. So if the 2D array is of size 3 by 2, then the size of the 1D array will be 6. 3 into 2, 6. Let's see the program. Here I have taken input mn, that is the order of the 2D array. After creating the array and after taking input, then see I am creating a 1D array, okay, with the size m into n. As I told you, if there are 3 rows and 2 columns, then the size of 1D array will be 6. I have taken a variable p that is working like a index variable, okay. So it will control the index of the 1D array. Every time I access any element of 2D array, that element is transferred to error of p++. So p is first time 0, first value goes to error of 0, means the first box of 1D array, then error of 1, then error of 2, like that. So this way I am transferring all the elements from 2D array to the 1D array, and I am printing the 1D array afterwards. Let's see the output. Enter M3, enter N4, enter 12 values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 4. So printing the array, this is the 1D array, okay, that I have got after converting the 2D array to the 1D form. Question number 9. Write a program to accept m into n words in any matrix, then print the longest word present in every row. So enter mn, if I input 2, 3, enter 6 words. Suppose I input hi, hello, bye, hey, okay, welcome. These words are getting stored in the string array. Okay. These 3 words are getting stored in the first row. These 3 words are getting stored in the second row. So basically I need to find the longest word in every row. In the first row I can see the longest word is hello. In the second row I can see the longest word is welcome. So in the program, after taking input, I am printing a message, longest word in each row. Now I am running a loop from 0 till the end. Okay. I have taken a variable L. L is the longest word. By default it is blank. Okay. Then in the inner loop, we are comparing if the length of the longest word I have got. What is the length of the longest word I have got till now? Blank means 0. Is less than the length of any particular word that will come up. Okay. We are using the length function to find out the number of characters in the word, means the length of the word. So if the length of current word which I have taken as the longest word is less than the length of any word in the string, in the array, then in that case we are taking that word as the longest word. Okay. And by the end of this loop, we'll get to know the longest word in that row which is to be printed. So a similar program I have explained you just few programs before. Okay. Let's see the output. Enter mn. Suppose I type 3, 5. That means 15 words. So first, if I input hi, hello, hi, bye. Okay, this is first row. In the second row, if I input okay, see you, bye, welcome. In the third row, if I input welcome, bye, see you, okay. So output will be in the first row longest word is hello, in the second and third row the longest word is welcome. Question number 10. Write a program to accept m into n values in any matrix, then print the matrix after arranging each row in ascending order. So in this program, we have to do sorting in ascending order. Okay. Let's see the program. Now I have used the bubble sort in this program. After taking input, in the sorting part, we are running 3 loops. The outermost loop is for the number of rows. So if in your program you have 10 rows, so it will run 0 to less than 10. If you have 5 rows, it will run 0 to less than 5. I have m rows, so it is running 0 to less than m. Okay. Outermost loop is for the number of rows. It has nothing to do with the sorting, remember. Okay. The middle loop, okay, that one is for the number of times the sorting will happen. So as you know, in bubble sort, for n numbers, n minus 1 time sorting happens. Same thing I have written, j less than n minus 1. Always remember, when we are sorting the elements in the matrix, we are not actually sorting the entire matrix. We are sorting it row wise. Okay. So this I loop will control the row. First time I will be 0. That means I am only sorting the first row. Okay. The 0th row means the first row. Then I will be 1. So I am sorting only the second row. This part, this inner loop, middle one, is only for controlling the number of times the sorting will happen. For each row, the sorting will happen n minus 1 time. Okay. And this innermost loop is for performing the sorting. That's why it is n minus j plus 1, which is the bubble sort logic. I am comparing. Then if any particular element is greater than the next element, I will do the sorting. I will swap the numbers. Now very careful in this part. It has to be a of ik plus 1. I, not j, okay? That you have to remember. Because the row has to be constant. That you need to remember. Only the column is moving. Then after the sorting, I am printing the matrix. Let's see the output of the last program. M if I take 3, n if I take 4. 12 values. 1, 2, 8, 0 first row. Then 3, 6, 5, 4 second row. Then 9, 5, 2, 0 third row. After sorting, here is the output. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates.